I wanted to talk about some PSP Minis. It's sort of like games, but, you know, they're like smaller scale games or ports of mobile games, as you guys are gonna see here. There's a lot of mobile games here. But first things first, I wanted to go ahead and talk about the Terminator PSP minigame. This is a top-down twin-stick shooter, and it's a lot of fun. I will say towards the end of the game, it's not necessarily challenging, but it does take a bit of patience. Like, you know, it's not frustrating by any means. It's just one of those things where if you try to go in running and gunning it just non-stop, you're gonna get your butt handed to you. So make sure you respect the game and take your time and you'll do just fine. But yeah, this game's absolutely awesome. Had a lot of fun with it. You can beat it in like an hour or two, but yeah, it's fantastic. So much fun. Very arcadey, but a lot of fun. Next up, we got Nova, which is Halo on the PSP. Well, you know, it's not actually Halo, but you know, it's basically like Halo. You're seeing the gameplay on your screen. You know, it's one of those Game Loft games where it's trying to be a certain franchise in everything but name and switching things up enough to not get hit with some sort of like copyright strike or, you know, getting taken to court for one reason or another. But yeah, I've always absolutely loved the Nova series as somebody that has a lot of nostalgia for that App Store era where we were getting a lot of games like this that were trying to be full-on console experiences on the go in your pocket on like your iPod Touch or your iPad or one thing or another. And this is one of those games that again was actually released for mobile initially, but then made its way over to the PSP via PSP Minis, with it being a first-person shooter on the system. As you can expect, since there's not a second analog stick, you are going to be using the face buttons to look around and all that, and then the, you know, the two shoulder buttons to shoot and aim and all that, but it works very well on the system. I didn't have any troubles beating the game on the normal difficulty, and I mean, the Nova series is honestly great. There was 2 other games after this. They never ended up making it to the PSP, but you can find ROMs for the second one, I'm sure, somewhere online if you want to play it on your Android or whatever. And then as for the third one, I believe the third one is actually still readily available in the App Store, so, you know, you can just go ahead and get that one there as well. But if not, I'm sure you can find a ROM for that out there somewhere as well. The sequels are great, though. Next, I wanted to mention Angry Birds. I mean, if you want to see gameplay, then here you go. I mean, there's some gameplay of Angry Birds on the PSP. It's Angry Birds running on the PSP. That's not me trying to dunk on the game, by the way, because obviously I love Angry Birds. I mentioned it because I love Angry Birds, and to this day I play Angry Birds constantly. It's just that, I mean, it's Angry Birds. Everybody's played Angry Birds, right? Next up, do you want Geometry Dash, but on the go? Well, I'm sorry, you're not gonna get that, but this is pretty close, and it was actually the original Geometry Dash before Geometry Dash stole the idea. So this is the Impossible game, and you know, I feel like most people ended up playing this through like the Xbox 360 arcade games back in the day. At least that's how I did it. I forget if it was through arcade or indie. It was one of those. It was one of those Microsoft services. But yeah, you know, even though that's the way that I played the game for the first time, when I realized that it was available through PSP Minis, I got it immediately, and yeah, it's the exact same game. It's still just as rage-inducing. I still suck at it. For some reason, I'm like halfway kind of okay at Geometry Dash. I can get through like the first 7-8 levels in the game. After that, just forget it though. Like demon levels, I can't even get through the first 1%. But for some reason, the Impossible game has always just been even more difficult for me. So again, it's available there. Just be prepared to, I don't know. I mean, again though, if you're buying a PSP, I don't know if one of the first games you want to play is a game that's going to make you want to smash the device, but you know, it's just a recommendation. And finally, if you've ever heard me talk about the PS Vita, you've definitely heard me talk about this final game, that being Age of Zombies. This is a twin stick shooter, and I have raved about this game for the longest time. It was available on mobile, PS Vita, PC, and PSP. The way that I play the game typically is on PS Vita, but you know, it's here on the PSP, so I figured I just had to mention it as well, because it is one of my favorite twin stick shooters of all time. I absolutely adore Age of Zombies. There's so much charm in this game, so much personality, so much character, so many laughs. No matter how many times I play the game, I still constantly laugh at all the gags and jokes and references. It's surprisingly mature. You're playing as the main man, Barry Steak Fries, trying to stop the zombie apocalypse and traveling through time, and it is just absolutely insane. I love the game so much. Again, I've gushed about this game time after time again, so here I am doing my due diligence and gushing about Age of Zombies for the 174th time.